according to the Game Rant article, the Switch 2 reportedly sold 3 million units. This is not a confirmed number yet, but assuming it's true, that means the Switch 2 would be the highest selling game console on launch day, besting the PS4 by 2 million units. A lot of people might be wondering, how is the Nintendo Switch doing so good on launch and everyone's buying it when before it was released everyone seemed like they were boycotting it, saying it was too expensive, Mario Kart was too expensive, and the negative sentiment around Nintendo's anti-consumer practices. So first, I think I'm going to address the concern of the price of the console. Was the Nintendo Switch 2 overpriced? Well, if you look at a direct competitor, the Steam Deck, the 256 gigabyte version console sells at $400, which is $50 cheaper than the Nintendo Switch. True. And Steam actually has like Steam sales and is a lot more consumer friendly in that way. So that is also true. But just the hardware, Nintendo Switch 2, for the $50 more, you are getting a 1080p screen versus the Steam Deck's 720p screen. And you're getting a 120 hertz refresh rate screen versus the Steam Deck's 90 hertz refresh rate screen. So the all of a sudden it actually looks like the Switch 2, assuming that they have similar performance, which it appears to be that way. Switch 2 doesn't seem as overpriced as everyone's making like such a humongous fuss about. Now, is Mario Kart World worth $80? Well, I'm telling you right now, it's not worth $80. But are most people paying $80 for it? No, they're probably paying $50 because the bundle exists, and that's going to be the counter argument. And there's always a counter argument that the bundle won't always exist, and people will have to pay $80 for it. Or what almost happened to me is there's no bundles available, so if you want to buy a Switch and the game, you have to buy them separately. But I'll be honest with you, I think that's Nintendo curates a situation where, oh, it's too expensive. Oh, but you can get the bundle. Oh, but what happens if the bundle's not available? Like all of a sudden, like a normal consumer, or not necessarily a normal consumer, but like, you know, a large amount of either casual consumers or like, you know, moms buying consoles for their children. It's like all this stuff is white noise to them. They will tune out. They don't even care anymore. They just go to the store. Hopefully they get the deal. Oh, $50 sounds good, but when they're stuck at the store and they have to pay $80, they're just gonna do it. Which leads me, I guess, to the next thing, the Nintendo's anti-consumer practices. Now, does that affect their console sales? Maybe a little bit, but the thing is, Nintendo's had anti-consumer practices for as long as I've known Nintendo existing. You know, yeah, they bundled Wii Sports with the Wii, but Reggie Fils-Aimé had to push for that. Over the years, they've kind of harassed the Smash community, whether it deserved or not. Any type of fan project, they shut it down with no remorse, where other companies have shown, like Sega, Sonic Team, with Sonic Mania, that sometimes you can like recruit developers and give them jobs sometimes. Because even with their anti-consumer practices, with a sprinkle of pro-consumer things, even the Switch 2 has a sprinkle of pro-consumer things. They're selling their stupid camera so you can use their online game chat functionality with a camera. Well, you can use any USB camera. They didn't need to do that. They could have pulled an Apple proprietary port. You have to use our camera or no camera. But they didn't. I can still use my Switch Pro controller with the new console. That's how it should be, but it's not always how it plays out. And over the years, the Wii still sold incredibly well. The DS still sold incredibly well. So I'll be honest, I don't know. I don't know how much the anti-consumer practices affect things. They've never dropped prices of their games. I mean, they had the Nintendo Select titles, but for the most part, they generally never drop the prices of their games. It's just the same thing with the Switch 2. We're doing the same thing over again. And yeah, Mario Kart 8's $80, but they're selling it with a bundle for $50. That's what people are gonna. The counter argument to it. Donkey Kong Bonanza is gonna be $70, which is more than $60. But guess what? There's a lot of games I see that are selling for $70, like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, or the Silent Hill remake, Silent Hill 2 remake. Now, I can at least say from experience that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth goes on sale, where Donkey Kong Bonanza probably won't. So I mean, it is annoying, especially as a consumer, that game prices are rising. But you know, I'm not a game developer. But I do understand it does take a lot of effort, and it's not that easy to make a video game. And obviously, I'm not a CEO of a company, so I'm not sure what type of business decisions exactly they're making that they feel like is necessary to do despite consumer backlash. I assume that the type of people watching this video, they're already aware about how the Nintendo Switch 2, if you try to mod it, it'll get bricked, or the virtual key card stuff, and how you don't actually own the physical game. So if the servers go down, you don't get to play. You can't play your game anymore, which Nintendo has shut down their servers for. The DS, for the 3DS, the Wii U. They're already shut down. So this will happen with the Switch 2, and then those games will basically be useless. The game cards, the wasted plastic e-waste. But the thing is, the Switch sold 130 million units, somewhere around there. So the install base was huge for that. And when little Timmy is trying to play Minecraft on his Switch and Fortnite on his Switch, and he sees that the Switch 2 actually runs the games good, the number one thing when I was little Timmy, I would complain about is lag, and I would fight tooth and nail to not lag anymore. And Nintendo, they have their fortress of first-party titles. That's why you buy a Switch. Otherwise, the Steam Deck is the better option, right? Because it's basically a gaming PC, a weaker gaming PC, but it's portable, and you get the advantage of the Steam sales. You get the advantage of not having to pay for online. It's objectively a better console in every way, other than the fact that it can't play first-party Nintendo games, because they own the properties to that. They only release those games on their console, and that's ultimately how they get you. That's why I have a Switch. That's why I bought a Switch 2. It's because when the new Zelda game comes out, I want to play it. I'm a PC gamer, so I play on PC otherwise. But it's like I'm not gonna buy a Xbox. What's even an exclusive game? I don't even know off the top of my head. Because if they do have them, I don't care. Same thing with PlayStation. I am more interested in the PlayStation exclusives, but most of them have been getting ported to the PC, so I'm happy about that. And even before they did, I never got a PlayStation because it wasn't worth such a large cost for games I wasn't even sure if I was interested in. Versus Nintendo, I grew up in Nintendo, and a lot of people did, because a lot of people had DSs, a lot of people had Game Boy Advances, and a lot of people had Wiis. And when I look online, that's when it's not the vocal minority of people that are, anti-Nintendo, rightfully so, because again, anti-consumer. I understand. I just see people saying that it was a great upgrade, which, ironically, it is exactly what everybody was asking for. The better actual Nintendo console with actually decent performance, so it can actually play games, and it seems like it is that. Considering from what I hear, Cyberpunk actually runs, it's not a compromised version of the game. It might be lower, graphics and resolution, but, Nintendo Switch had like compromised versions of games that it's like astonishing they would even be released. But they only were because it has such a large install base. Developers were like encouraged to make that version of the game. But I think once people start talking about the Switch 2, the fact that it plays Switch 1 games better, it actually plays games that would have lag issues, they don't have lag issues on the Switch 2. Games that would do better with voice chat, like Splatoon. I'm sure this is what we needed with the Splatoon 1 and Splatoon 2 on the Switch, and we didn't have it. Is voice chat. You can actually like talk with your friends, and game chat is scuffed, and Discord is objectively better. But the thing is, if you're playing on the Switch, it's not as convenient to play on Discord as it is to use the on console service, which is why every other console has had voice chat for the last 20 years. The fact that it's backwards compatible, everyone can play their Switch 1 library on the Switch 2, and if people actually want to play the new games that come out that that are going to be exclusive to Switch 2, I think it's going to make a lot smoother of a transition for that large install base of the Switch 1. Because, again, ironically, it could be because the Switch 1's inability to run its own games is so bad that people might just feel like they need to upgrade it so that games actually run better. And at the end of the day, this might be like the best all-in-one console because it can play exclusive Nintendo games. It appears like it's going to be able to play a lot of third-party games, all for $450. That's cheaper than my graphics card in my computer, let alone the entire computer itself. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed.